The Captain is Dead is a cooperative game set in a sci-fi universe in which a lot of bad stuff happens to a crew of a starship after the captain, as the title says, is dead, and they're trying to survive and to handle all the tragedies, all the catastrophes that are happening around there, and to survive long enough until they can repair the jump core and get the heck out of there. It's a game that was originally produced by Game Crafter, and I remember I saw a pile of these at the booth of Game Crafter last year at Gen Con 2016, and I wanted to pick up a copy. I was curious about the game, and I stopped at the booth of Game Crafter at least two times, maybe three even, and there was never anybody there. It was completely deserted, so I couldn't buy a copy. I could have stolen one, I guess, but I didn't, so I just couldn't play the game. So I'm also happy to see that now there is a new edition of the game, which maybe will be a little easier to find, and probably if you want to buy the Gen Con, there will be somebody that will sell it to you at the AEG booth. The game has been now picked up by AEG, so it's probably going to be easier to find. Also from the pictures that I saw online, it seems that the components have been slightly upgraded. They look a little bit better than before. And again, I haven't played the original version, but from what I see, it looks to me like the game is more or less the same, mechanically speaking. The game, solvable, cooperative, run around the board, react to all of the bad stuff that the AI of the system is throwing at you, and try to build a situation that will lead you to meet the victory conditions. Pandemic in space? Maybe, or maybe not. Let's take a closer look and then we'll talk about that. Each player in the game controls a character. Each character has a card giving you the stats of the character. As you can see, there really are a lot of characters, and really part of the game, part of the fun, is experimenting with different characters, different teams, different combinations. A lot of variety and replayability thanks to this large pool of characters. The card of a character tells you the rank of the character, which is used to determine player order, the number of actions that a character can perform in a turn, the hand size of the character, the number of cards that you can hold in your hand when you play that character, and then built-in knowledge that the character has. When you have to perform a task and you have to spend a certain number of skills to match certain requirements, that's, for example, I don't know, I need to match skills, I need to pass a test or perform a task that requires 3 blue icons, then the icons that I have on my character work as discount. If that was 3 blue skills to perform a certain actions and I have this character, then I only need to discard 2. And then each character has a unique abilities, conditions, advantages, things that they can do, and occasionally a restriction. The position of the character on the board is marked using these pawns here. Very nice looking. There's this minimalist look that the art has, and of course these standees here look particularly attractive thanks to the transparent background that makes the figure just stand out so much. I really like them. The colorful bases, really nice components, although I'm a little concerned about storage. Unless I store them standing up in the box and then I keep the box horizontal and I don't shake it too much, I'm afraid that if these things stay like this, laying flat in the box, well, in a couple of months when I open the box, they will look like they are dancing in limbo. I'm afraid that they will bend simply because of, well, standing like that for a long time. So, I don't know about that, but, well, they do look good. We'll see what happens to them in a couple of months. Also, similar pieces represent the aliens that will flood your ship and that you will have to eliminate. They are the most indecisive aliens ever. They pop out on your ship and then they're like, what now? They just stand there and you have to eliminate them to be able to perform actions, but they don't do much more than the disease cubes in Pandemic. The board, let's have a look at it. The board looks really nice, has a certain groovy look to it. Colorful, minimalistic. Very effective. At the beginning, a little hard to read, but then I'm thinking about visually, not necessarily the text. It was a little hard to decipher, but then I became familiar with it, and that wasn't a problem. Here we have the central area where the characters move and perform actions. And of course, they can move from room to room. Here, these lines indicate the actions that can be performed in each room. For example, when I am here in engineering, I can perform the action of using the teleporter, or I can work on the jump core and repair the jump core, bringing the jump core to the engaged level is how you win the game. Here I can do other stuff. Here I can reshuffle. I can get cards from here. Actually, here also I can get special cards. I can get skill cards. I can get tools that can be useful for a variety of things. They have two sides, the A and the B. Once I use it, I turn it to the B side, and once I use it again, it's eliminated, and I need to be here to be able to get those cards. So different locations allow me to do different things. Here's where I fire missiles, torpedoes at enemy ships, the trauma station where I can heal, the research station when I can get rid of anomalies. Here we have the external scanners that alarm me about bad stuff that is happening. This is the deck where the bad stuff that's happening is drawn from. As you can see, you simply draw a card and you do what it says. If the external scanners are working, then I can see the bad stuff that's happening to me ahead. Otherwise, I have to draw blindly. So a lot of stuff. And an important thing here is the shields. You start 100% unless you're a maniac and you decide to start lower. And many game effects will reduce the shields. If you go down to 0, the game is over, and you need to spend two actions and 2 red resources to repair the shields. And is to improve the situation on your shields. So the gameplay is pretty simple. I mean, pretty much it amounts to move around, spend actions to move around. You have some standard actions. So for example, for an action, remember the number of actions is indicated on your card. For an action, you can move up to 2 spaces on the board. Pretty simple. For an action, you can eliminate an alien from the board. That's it. You can transport another player, especially if the player is injured, or in any case you want the player to move faster. You can also give skills and tools to other players in the same location, pandemic style. However, here you also have the comm system that allows you to pretty much teleport stuff around the board. The comm system here. If the comm system is online, then you can give a skill to or take a skill from another player and maybe use from any location. By the way, this also allows us to talk about another element in the game, which is the online, offline. The things that I showed you, the things that you can do, not necessarily work all the time. They may be online, and then you can use them unless there is a game effect that turns it. Now it's offline, and you need to spend resources and actions to get it back to work. Again, when you see these icons, these colored icons, so that represents the cost to perform an action, and the cost is paid by discarding skill cards of the corresponding color, and or by paying and or by getting the discount from your built-in knowledge here. The game again is very simple. It's pretty much as simple as perform your actions, do either move around, do the standard actions that I told you about, or do what the board says. Basically, all of these are player aids that tell you what you can do and describe what you can do. Once you are done, there will be new bad stuff happening. You draw if the external scanners are offline, or you resolve the first threat up there. And again, it's pretty much a matter of do what it says, do what it says. Anomalies are particularly bad because they are lasting dangers. You may have to add hostiles in certain locations, and then certain game effects will injure the player. So when a player is injured, the player is down, can still crawl around. Will need to go to the infirmary to get back on his or her feet, quite literally. When you're injured, you can still kill aliens. The justification is because the adrenaline kicks in. It sounds a little strange, but whatever. It's a game, not a simulation. Some of the dangers that you will find, I'm looking for one of them, are alien ships that will attack you, and they'll stay there doing bad stuff. Here I found one. Alien ship. Whenever the shields take damage, increase the damage by 10% if the alien ship is there. So the alien ship stays there once it's drawn from the danger deck or the threat deck or the alert deck, stays there, and you need to remove it with the torpedoes. Again, it's just a matter of using the right action. In this case, you fire the torpedoes, but then, and you need to, again, pay for those actions and those icons. You spend that torpedo, pew, and you destroy the alien ships, and of course then bad stuff keeps happening because stuff goes offline, and so on and so forth. So it's as simple as that. The players take turns performing actions, repairing stuff, pretty much keeping the menace at bay while also collecting resources that will allow them to fix the jump core. If the players manage to fix the jump core before any of the conditions that will lead them to lose the game applies, then, well, guess what? They win the game. So they just need to stay alive until the jump core is fixed. And if I say it like that, it sounds fairly easy, but there are several ways of losing the game. One is if there are too many aliens on the board, you need to add more aliens, and you can, because they're all there littering your beautiful ship. Or it can also be that the shields, you lose all of your shields, then you also lose the game. If you theoretically, if the deck of alert cards runs out and you should draw one and you can't, then you also lose the game. But then in practice, the red alerts, which are at the bottom of the deck, are just so murderous that that situation probably will never occur. And this is how you play The Captain is Dead. So the game, in essence, I guess it is a little bit pandemic in space, especially when it comes to the aliens that come out of nowhere, sit there like diseases in pandemic. But then around that idea, you have so many of the challenges that just create different situations. For example, shutting down certain things, that is something that feels different from pandemic. Also the fact that instead of working to build a big set and going around a huge board to exchange cards, it is much easier to exchange cards here. The tasks that you had to complete require fewer options, fewer resources, maybe an action or two, maybe 2 cards instead of like a big set to find a cure in pandemic. So you will find solutions to things much more often, but then you have so many more of these problems that happen to you. So the pace of the game, the flow of the game is different, because again, instead of having the slow build up to a grand finale, or 2 or 3 or 4, but grand finale here, I mean when you cure a disease, even better than when you eradicate, it's a constant flow. Something happens, you need to create a set quickly, throw it there, resolve that situation, other 5 things happen in the meanwhile. So there is a back and forth, I feel, a back and forth between the design, the AI, and the actions of the players, which makes the game quite interesting. I don't know if it's more compelling than Pandemic, but it feels more adventurous, it feels more thrilling, precisely because it's a constant flow of horrendous stuff. And again, although I guess that at the ludic level, when you take out all of the thing, it is still about putting together a certain number of cards and bringing it to a certain location to solve whatever it is that it's happening. The theme does add flavor. The theme is implemented well and does add to the experience of playing the game. The fact that one of the challenges, one of the obstacles, the dangers you complete by throwing torpedoes at it. Another one is fixing something. Another one is fighting against the aliens or picking up an item and bringing it somewhere else. there's just a variety, a thematic variety, which may not be entirely mirrored by mechanical variety, but works. I found that it was easy for me to let the design fool me into thinking that there was maybe more variety than there was mechanically. But that is to the credit of the design that does make the theme stand out in such a way that I care about the theme, the story that emerges from the design is fun, and I easily overlook the fact that maybe I am just putting together sets that work the same in various areas. I still feel like my characters are going through a series of adventures and different situations that feel different and therefore give me a sense of variety. Speaking of variety, of course, a big attractive element in the design is the huge variety of characters that you have, and it's not a small thing. You're not talking about details, different characters playing completely different ways. Yes, some of them feels like it's very similar characters with different discount icons, but then other characters have their own sets of challenges, advantages and disadvantages, synergies. So really there's great replay value there, and there's a lot of fun in discovering the synergies that may occur and the ways in which different combinations of characters will have to react to all of these horrendous things that happen to you. Things that explode, ships that attack you, sensors that don't work, etc., etc., etc. So I liked it a lot. I found it very enjoyable. It's not going to replace Pandemic, but it's an interesting variant. But again, a variant that's a reductive. It makes it look like it doesn't have as much personality as it does. The Captain is that has tons of personality, starting from the unique look of the board to gameplay, which again may be reminiscent of other cooperative games that you have played, but it has a back and forth which feels very exciting, which keeps you entertained, and that has its own flavor, has its own flow, and definitely gives the game a very strong identity. The Captain is that highly recommended because it's really a lot of fun. Highly recommended to anybody who enjoys cooperative games, who also wants to have a solo option because you can play the game solo. Anybody who likes sci-fi in general, I would say anybody who likes fun, fast, furious, and entertaining gameplay. The game has all of these qualities. They come together well with components that I find actually quite attractive. Not everybody might. Again, it's a unique look, but I personally really like it. So I like the look. I like the workings of The Captain is Dead. Definitely two big thumbs up for me.